Hey friends, it's Damon. Just wanted to tell you before we jump into this episode that we're going to be adding and expanding the different types of shows that we're doing here on the podcast and on the Recovered Life show. Don't worry, you're still going to get all of those great interviews from therapists, mental health experts, recovery experts, and people's recovery journey. But we're also going to be mixing in some of the stuff that we're doing on our live shows. And we're doing that today. And this episode is all about identifying your domino. What's that one thing you got to do that's going to help move everything forward? Let's jump into the show. Can't wait to see you there.
I held the weight of the world in my hands, but I let it go. Now I understand. I'm awake, I'm aware, I'm alive. I'm living my best recovered life.
You're listening to the Recovered Life Show, the show that helps people in recovery live their best recovered lives. And here is your host, Damon Frank.
Want to talk about identifying your domino today on the first part of the Recovered Life show. Identifying your domino, the one thing that is going to move everything forward. And I have to tell you, friends, last week, the world just seemed heavy and nothing seemed to be working. And sometimes in addiction recovery, mental health recovery, codependency recovery, it will feel like nothing is working. And sometimes you will walk into a 12-step meeting, you'll talk to friends, you'll go to work, you'll interact with family, you'll show up at a social event, and you'll say to yourself, how come it's working for everybody else, but it is not working for me? And now I found that just isn't true. It is working for me. It is working for me. I just can't see it, but I'm seeing it in other people. And look, I mean, the spiritual principle is if you can see it in other people and identify it, that means that you understand what that vibrational energy is, that healing modality is, and that means that it is available to you. But whether it's available to us or not available to us, friends, sometimes I have to tell you, I don't know about you, it just does not feel like I have access to it. It does not feel like I can move anything forward. I can't enact change in my life, anybody else's life. And sometimes you just feel flat out like, what the heck? What is it gonna take for God or me or a higher power or anything to do anything in my life? And you just feel stuck. So today is for everybody who feels stuck and is saying to themselves, you know what? Maybe any action's not really going to help me. And even if it did help me, I can't do it right now. I just feel stuck. I feel immobilized. So this is for you. And this is why we have to identify the domino, the one thing that's going to move everything else forward. And I have to tell you, gravity does work in addiction recovery. Is when you start taking a little bit of action, that turns into some action, and then that turns into massive action. And because this is Massive Action Monday, we're going to talk about that domino. One move, friends, creates a momentum and makes other tasks easy or unnecessary. One move. It's only going to take one move to get what I had a business partner that used to say, the first olive out of the jar, the first pickle out of the jar. You know, it's always the hardest to get, God, why won't this one come out? And I think I think it's hard for us because let's talk about why we struggle. People confuse movement with progress, doing 20 small things that actually don't matter. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I have a list and I say to myself, oh my gosh, I have all these things on my list. And then I end up cleaning my coffee maker. Not that my coffee maker did need to be cleaned, but it's not even on my list and I'm cleaning it. Why am I doing that? I'm doing all these small things that don't really actually matter. Busyness feels safe sometimes, but it keeps you from the real action that would move you forward. The real action that is going to move you forward. So how do we do that? How do we get this domino out? The first domino to fall in all the other dominoes. Find one high impact task that's going to change multiple things at once. Meaning, can you find one high impact task? And for a lot of people, and I have to tell you, I get messages, I check my messages on the social media platforms, and I got one a day. And somebody said, I kept putting off getting sober because I didn't want to go to detox. I didn't want to go to rehab, but I was cutting down and I was telling myself that I had to do this, and the other thing, filling myself with busy work. But then at the end of the day, it was a lot simpler. I had to do one task, which was stop drinking and actually show up. And I want to let you know I have 4 days. And this is the one high impact task that you can do. And sometimes I ask myself in the morning, friends, look, if I'm going to remain being a high performance person, I have to ask myself on Massive Action Monday, what is one thing? What are tasks that I could do today? What are things that I can do today that are really going to matter? If I only had today, friends, to be able to make movement in a relationship, work, your life, your recovery, what is that one thing that you could do? What is that one high impact thing that you could do? If I only had today to do it, what would be that high impact thing? Often we avoid it because it feels very, very big, even though the task around it might be as simple as making that call to a sponsor, calling that support group, showing up at the live, doing the service commitment, calling people back. Man, is the phone heavy or what? Even texting can be heavy. We avoid it because it feels big. But once we do the one thing that matters, we realize something, that the task becomes inconsequential. We're now in the flow of it because it creates momentum. And I think this is all about the questions that we ask in our life. What is one thing that I could do today? Fill in the category. We'll just say recovery. If I only had today to make one huge movement to really make a difference, what would that be? And sometimes the task is not that big, but we've made it big. And what I'm saying, friends, is a domino action is attacking that big, hairy thing that we've been putting off. For your business, it might be making that sales call instead of reworking your logo. Friends, no one cares about your logo. Recovery, it could be reaching out for help instead of sitting in isolation. If the biggest thing that you could do is to say, you know what? I need to take some massive action and just actually call people back. In your health, it could be scheduling the blood test instead about reading about diets all day. You know what you need to do for your health, but you're not doing it. Wait, I need more information. The overthinking gene. How do you find your domino, friends? And this is what I want to talk about here. How do you find your domino? You ask different questions. If I only did one thing today, what would matter most? What would matter most to you and the people around you? What am I avoiding that would unlock progress? If you're avoiding it, that is the key to the lock. That is the key to the lock. Are you just involved in busy work? Or are you involved in bold work? There's a difference, friends. Are you just filling your life with busy work? Or are you filling your life with bold work? And bold work is what it's going to take for you to have the life that you want to have. How do you take that action and change, friends? First of all, you write that domino down. What are you avoiding? You can put it in the chat or you could write it down. What are you avoiding? What are you avoiding in your life? That is going to give you the sign and the key to that massive action that you have to take. And so what I do is I'm challenging everybody today and this week for the goal for this week in your recovery and in your life, because let's not get it twisted, friends. Your life is your recovery. Your life is your recovery. Having economic insecurity and not doing anything about it affects your recovery. Having bad relationships or relationships that are not great affects your recovery. Just as much as what we do to not drink and use. And I always want to tell everybody, Massive Action Monday is not about doing everything. It's about doing the one thing this week that we feel uncomfortable with, that we know we need to do. And once you do that, you're going to find that everything else is much easier or flat out unnecessary.
Hey, if you like this episode, think about supporting us by becoming a Recovered Life Plus member. At Recovered Life TV, we're not just delivering premium recovery resources, we're empowering you with the knowledge and tools that make a real difference in the quality of your recovery. By subscribing, you gain access to ad-free content, expert insights, exclusive video and audio segments, special projects, plus so much more, all while supporting our mission to spread the recovery message far and wide. Whether you're seeking to deepen your understanding or stay updated on the latest addiction and mental health recovery trends, Recovered Life Plus is for you. Subscribe now and start living your best recovered life. Just go to recoveredlife.tv and become a Plus member today.